What's going on, football world? This X's and O's defense will be discussing the Buddy Ryan 4-6 defensive front. It's going to be a very basic overview, very general, but it will scrape the tip of the iceberg to give you some general insight about this defense and hopefully give you a start on maybe an installation or having this as something you might want to use in your defensive package. As you know, Coach Buddy Ryan was hired in 1978 as the Chicago Bears defensive coordinator, and that's when he began to develop this defensive scheme. Many people believe that the 4-6 refers to personnel on the football field, meaning that the 4 represents 4 down linemen and the 6 represents players behind the 4 down linemen, such as a 43, a 52, a 35, 34, etc., etc. This is actually not the case. One of Coach Ryan's favorite players, his name was Doug Plank, and Doug Plank was a hard-hitting, very aggressive, played with reckless abandon type safety. And Coach Ryan just loved his style of play, and so therefore he felt it proper to name the defensive system to or around the player who exemplified the system that he was trying to create and install. So that's where you get the 46. That was Doug Plank's jersey number, 46 there. So anyhow, again, it's going to be a basic overview, and so I do want to get started by discussing the basic alignments of this defense. So again, if you want to employ it, you can at least get started in the right direction. So the basic alignment for the 4-6 defense is as follows. First, you are going to need a zero technique, and I'm going to abbreviate for time purposes. You are going to need 2 3 techniques, you are going to need 2 9 techniques, two 9 techs, 1 7 technique, which is and actually I'm going to go ahead and specify strong side, strong side 7 technique, 2 linebacker type players. So I'm just going to put 2 LBs, and that's going to leave an 11-man football, 3 D-back type players. So 3 DBs. We'll get into that more in here in just a second. Now, I do want to discuss the pros, a few pros of this defense, some positives, and then again some cons. So for the pros, this is a defender-heavy defensive front to the strong side. Strong side of the formation. So you're going to see when we start diagramming, and I'm just going to put form to abbreviate, how the strong side will be very difficult for an offense to run at. 2, this is going to immediately immediate 8 or 9-man box. Next, difficult to trap. and run between tackles. I'm just going to put run between OTs, like so. It does put constant pressure. Constant pressure on the line of scrimmage. The offensive linemen are going to have guys right in their face right now, as long as you're sitting in that defensive front. And then the last pro, there are many more, and you can come up with more once we're finished diagramming, but there are many more pros to this defense. I just want to name a few that stuck out to me. But it allows your Mike linebacker to fly around and just annihilate running backs. If you remember Mike Singletary, and if you remember Ray Lewis, they got to fly around because of this defense quite a bit. So those are some pros. Some of the cons. There's two sides to every coin, so it's good to know both. Some of the cons or the negatives. Lends to man coverage, and you might not be a good man-to-man cover team. You can run zone, but you know the zones out of this, because you have so many people up in the box, you're gonna have to get creative with your zone drops. So it does lend itself to man defense, man-to-man coverage, but that's going to provide little safety support if you're not a good man-to-man cover team. Also, it puts a great deal of pressure, a lot of pressure, and I'm actually going to use the word stress, a lot of stress on the secondary. And that might be because of what I mentioned right above, which is the man versus zone concepts you might have to employ with it. But and that's an A. So a lot of stress on the secondary. And then another one is, and a lot of people think that this was the demise of the 4-6, was that it's susceptible to the spread passing attack and quick passing game. So you know, a lot of people think that's what was the demise of the 4-6, although the 4-6 still shows up in plenty of defenses around college and in the pros still today. Actually, Rex Ryan and Rob Ryan still use this defense quite a bit in their packages for the teams that they coach for. So anyhow, again, for a quick review before we start diagramming, basic alignment, you're going to need a 0 technique, 2-3 techniques, 2-9 techniques, a strong side 7 technique, 2 linebacker type players, and 3 D-back type players. The pros of the defense: defender heavy to the strong side of the formation, immediate 8 or 9-man box, difficult to trap and run between the offensive tackles, constant pressure on the line of scrimmage, allows the Mike linebacker to fly around and hit people in the mouth. Cons: man coverage. It lends itself to man coverage with little safety support, puts a lot of stress on the secondary coverage, and is susceptible to spread and the quick passing game. The one con I didn't note, and I won't just because of space purposes, but there will be a C gap bubble at times. So let's get into the diagrams so you can see how this looks drawn up. When we draw this up, you're going to notice that this is going to look very similar to the Earl Neal Eagle of the 1940s, and maybe that's some of the inspiration where Coach Ryan grabbed this defense from, but you'll see a lot of the similarities. I'm going to go ahead and circle up all the Y's just so that when we draw in our defensive players, I don't have to go back and do that. And you'll see why is because a lot of times they're going to have a double shade on top of them, and so I'm going to just go ahead and get that out of the way right now. So we have our 0 technique, 2-3 techniques. Let's go ahead and put in our 9 technique on the weak side. Now, Buddy Ryan used a 4-3-4 personnel package, so 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and 4 D-backs. So this here, the 4 defensive linemen I have drawn up right here, those would be the true 4 down defensive linemen. And then what Coach Ryan liked to do was put 2 linebackers side by side on the strong side. And so for the sake of this video and my terminology, I'm going to call the walk-up 9 the Sam backer. And then you're going to have your 7 technique, which is Coach Ryan also liked to use a lot the backside defensive or the backside linebacker. So in this case, I'm going, for my terminology, I'm just going to use it as Will, and he's in a 7. So there you have your 0 technique, your 2-3 techniques, your 2-9 techniques, one of which is a backer if you use a 4-3 system. But again, this can be employed with a 34, a 4-3, 42, anything. You just got to have the techniques. I'm just using personnel from a 4-3-4 grouping. You use any personnel you would like, and that's why up above here in the basic alignments, I just simply use the techniques that need to get in position. Alright, again, now you're going to need 2 linebacker types, and so when there's two running backs in the backfield, I would put Mike head up on the strong side offensive tackle, about 4 yards off the ball, and then Coach Ryan walked up his strong safety on the backside and put him over the top of the backside tackle and sat him right there about 4 yards off the ball. Then you would have your corners playing 1 on either side, the number 1 wide receiver on either side, and then based upon what you want to do with your free safety, you could drop him down here at 4 yards, and now you have 9 guys in the box, which I mentioned as one of the pros. Or if it's more of a passing type situation, or you need some more cushion, you can back them off and you still have your 8 players in the box. That's how you would line up against that. If you notice, like I said, because of the TNT, the tackle, nose tackle, it looks a lot like the 1940s Eagle defense. I did do a video on that. If you're interested to go back and review that or learn about that, please go back and look that up in the library. Moving on, here we have a double tight ace type formation. So let's go ahead and put in our 0 technique, 3 technique, responsible for the B gap. This 3 technique responsible for the backside B gap. We're going to assume this is a right call. And as you noticed in the previous diagram, this 9 technique is in a ghost 9 because there's no tight end. I still would put him out in space, although some coaches might want to squeeze him down into a 5. But in order to make sure he has contained, I would keep him in a ghost 9. Over here, back on the ace diagram, there's actually a tight end on his side now, so he would be in a true 9 technique. Again, Sam backer could walk up. Now, what you could do, and again, it doesn't matter what personnel you want, but or who you want up in the 7. So in this situation, I am going to go ahead and bring over my strong safety and have, if I like my strong safety in the 7 technique, I might have my strong safety just play right there. One back situation, I'd go ahead and put my Mike stacked up behind the 0 about 4 yards back, and then my Will could stay back over here in a 44, head up on the tackle 4 yards off the ball, something like that. And again, you would have your corners responsible for number 1 to their side, and then the free safety somewhere in the middle of the football field. So I didn't discuss the coverage responsibilities real quick, so I'll go through that on this diagram. Corners are responsible for number 1 man-to-man. The person playing, or the player in the 7 technique, will be responsible to cover the tight end, to who they are on the 7 technique on. They're responsible for the tight end in the pass situation, but also responsible for the C gap that they are sitting in. So they got to be a pretty tough and savvy player. On as far as on the backside, in this case, the will linebacker would cover this tight end, and then Mike would cover the tailback coming out of the backfield. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 receivers in 11-man football, and your safety would be free to roam over the top. So those would be your passing responsibilities, just so you get a quick idea about that. Let's move down. This one is a run heavy type formation, play action pass formation, and I would show you. I'm going to show you how I would line up against this, and I've actually seen footage, NFL footage of this, where the Ravens or Jets would line up against this formation. And so there again, there are your 0 and 3 techniques. There would be my 9, so there's my 4 down lineman again. I'm going to go ahead and circle up the H, because the H is so close in this situation. The Sam backer, I would go ahead and have the Sam backer kick out again for contained purposes, and he's going to walk out into a wide 9. I would consider that a wide 9. And then let's go ahead and bring the will linebacker back over. He's still going to stay in his 7 technique. Bring the will back over. And so it's a 2 back formation. So Mike would be on top of that tackle. Now on the backside, this is something you could do a few different things here. You could go ahead and put your strong safety down in a 7 technique on the backside and have your corner play off, where your strong safety would still be responsible for him man-to-man. And then if the tailback, let's say, flared out over this way, the cornerback would be responsible for the tailback. What I have seen done is you bring your corner, because the tight end is the number 1 receiver, you bring your corner, let him play the 7, and then you keep your strong safety where he's used to playing, just like in the diagram above, in that 44 type look. So you could do that. On the other side, again, like I said, I would widen out the Sam into a wide 9, and then my corner would stack right on top of number 1, who he would be guarding. And then again, that leaves your free safety in the middle of the football field. So coverage in this situation would be corner covering the number 1 wide receiver, the will covering the tight end, the cornerback covering the number 1 wide receiver, who is the other tight end, and then your Mike would pick up first back to his side, strong safety would pick up back to his side. So your strong safety would have the tailback in that situation, and Mike would have the fullback in that situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your free safety is still free. You could see in that formation how play action could get pretty tricky for the defense, but that's how I would line up against that formation. Let's move into our final diagram. Have a slot type formation. So we have 1-3 technique there in the B gap. The other technique, 3 technique in the backside B gap. Again, this would be a right call. Ghost 9. Those are your 4 down linemen. Walk up backer, Sam. I'm going to keep Will over here. I'm going to bring Will over right there. It's 1 back, so I'm going to put Mike in the middle because it's more of a balanced formation. Your cornerbacks have number 1 to their side, and your safety would be the adjuster. And so because this is the 3rd best wide receiver who is on the field or immediate threat, your safety, who was normally in the box, now has to break the box, and that's where I came up with one of the cons. Susceptible to the spread and quick passing game, you know, now all of a sudden our box has been broken simply from the spread formation. So and we're in man-to-man coverage in space, so if we get a bubble here and a fade there, if this H-back is a better person in space, better player in space than my safety, I could have some troubles. And then again, my free safety would be in the middle of the football field. So coverage on this one would look something like this. Let's say the tailback flared over there. That would be Mike's. And there you have it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the free safety would be free in the middle of the football field. So you can notice, again, looks a lot like the Eagle with the TNT, the double 3s and the 0, but as you can see, it's defender heavy to the strong side of the formation. You always have your 8, and that's until they start getting to the spread. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the box simply because they split somebody out. Now, you know, depending on if you want to run some zone, you might be able to keep that safety in the box, but the spread does cause some problems on the perimeter for this defense. But you oftentimes have 8 and 9 in the box. Difficult to trap, run between the tackles, constant pressure on the line of scrimmage. You can see how many people are right up close to the line of scrimmage, and it's a in-your-face defense. And you can see Mike is pretty well protected on all of these example formations, so he's going to be able to fly around. So you can see the cons. We spoke about those earlier, but this is a brief overview of the Buddy Ryan 4-6 defensive front. I hope it's added to your knowledge of the game of football, whether you're a player, coach, or a fan. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, leave a comment so we can have some discussion over this video and hopefully build upon our knowledge together. And if you'd like to see a video topic in the future, don't hesitate to email me at xsandOs.cs@gmail.com, and thanks for watching.